Well, growing up and living in Vancouver, I know how much people love to talk about real estate, and I get the pleasure of following that up with everyone's favorite second topic, taxes and tax time. Much like where John talked to you about the anxiety and kind of stress around RSP season, I'm sure tax time is even higher, trying to ensure you have all your slips and did you file correctly and all the information, when is it coming, and all that. So hopefully today, I can just provide a little bit of information, what to expect, and some tips and recommendations on how to do it. Because as we know, like I was saying, our favorite time is tax time, where the government likes to remind us that we owe them money. And as nice Canadians, we want to pay our taxes. We like where we live. We know it costs money, and so we agree and we say, oh, okay, well, how much do I owe? But the government likes to play a little game here where they want us to figure it out. Even though we're not accountants and this isn't our expertise, they want us to do the work to figure it out. So can we just decide how much we want to pay? No, absolutely not. They know how much we owe, but they want us to figure it out. And if we get it wrong, we go to jail. Well, of course, I joke a little bit on that. But, can we get fined or this or that? Or even worse, if we get it wrong, on the other end, what if we pay too much and we missed something and we overpaid? Ooh, I wouldn't like that to happen, overpaying my taxes, that's for sure. So what to expect this tax season? What tax slips should I expect? Where do I find them? How will I receive them? And then some quick filing recommendations. So here we go. Let's get right into it. What tax slips can I expect? RSP RIFs. So from your registered accounts, contribution slips. So when you put money into an RSP, you're going to get a contribution receipt that's going to allow you to use that to deduct against your income. So the latest mailing date for these, since the last contribution date is March 1st, would be March 15th. So you're putting money in all year. You've already started to receive slips. You're receiving slips up to December, and then every 2 weeks, they're mailing out slips for contributions through January and February. So if you're making a contribution at the very end of the deadline, your slips are going to come out later in March. And that's when they're mailed. Let's remember, this is when slips are sent out, not when you receive them. That's left up to the discretion of Canada Post, another great reliable institution that makes our lives easier. On the other side is when you're taking money out of your registered accounts, like a RIF, or if you take money out of your RSP, you're going to get a T-slip for income withdrawals. Similar to the way that you work, you get your T4. When you take money out, it's income, and that's going to be added to your income and taxable as well. So you're going to get a slip for that. So those will also be sent out. Now, that's not a contribution. That is a withdrawal that was done in 2022 last year. So the latest those will be sent out is March 1st. So you should get those a little earlier. TFSAs. We commonly get questions, oh, I made a contribution to my TFSA, I didn't get a slip. Or I made a withdrawal, should I be getting a slip? Tax-free savings account. The whole point of them being tax-free is that you do not pay tax on any withdrawals, and therefore you do not get any contribution withdrawal receipts or slips, the same way that you don't get any contribution deposit receipts, because there's no deduction to be made against your income. You don't get a deduction for putting money in, and you don't get taxed for pulling it out. So you don't get any slips for putting money in or taking it out. So you don't need to worry about that. The only thing you do need to track is ensuring how much you put in, you didn't go over, and things like that. They'll let you know if you go over. We can track that as well. And on your MyCRA website, there's a detailed breakdown of your contributions, when you made them, withdrawals, when you made them, what institution, and all that. So it's useful information there as well. Non-registered accounts. Now, this is when things get a little more complicated for your tax returns, is when you have non-registered investments. So investments outside of your TFSA and your RSP. So this is when I would ask, if people are doing their own taxes or having a professional or accountant do your taxes for you. If you're doing them yourselves and you have non-registered investments, it can get a little more complicated. So your non-registered investments, you're going to get some T5 slips for income, T5008s or T3s income. Now, most of these slips, the latest mailing date is March 1st. However, as you notice there for T3 for trust income, for mutual funds, it can be mailed as late as March 31st. So that's the end of March. Now, again, that's not when you receive them. That's when they are mailed. And we're still waiting on Canada Post. So that's why we highlight at the very bottom there in my slide, do not file your return too early. I know that people are eager and want to get on top of this and get it behind them so they can move on and start to enjoy their spring, looking forward to summer, whatever it might be, but do not file too early. We recommend waiting till at least April 15th or later to actually file. Now, I'm not saying that you can't prepare everything and start getting organized today, and you can even start sending your accountant all the information, knowing that when more stuff comes in, letting them know, well, you can prepare everything, but I might add something. Do not file it until the end of April so that we ensure we have everything. You can notice that most of those other slips, your gain loss report, foreign property report, annual fee letter, investment income summary, and trading summary are all going to be mailed out March 1st as well. So you should have those by the middle of March. So the big one is just that T3s for mutual funds won't be, it could be sent out earlier. You could get it earlier, but the latest file and mailing date they can do is March 31st. These do not come from us. We are not sending these to you. This is out of our hands. It's coming directly from the investment company. On the flip side, the realized gain report, the foreign property report, and annual fee letter, those are coming from us. And I'm getting into some more details on those, kind of where to find them and whatnot, as well as a trading summary, investment income summary. This is just an example in case you've never received like a T5 or T3. These are what the slips look like. They're going to have all the different boxes for you if you are filing your returns and your first time filing an unregistered account. Just wanted to throw that out there for you. So importantly, we know there's going to be slips coming in. Now, where do I find them? How do I get them? Kind of when we're expecting them. So number one, our client online portal and our mobile app. That will have everything that we send you will be available there. You can log in, you can see all your statements, transactions, all that stuff, as well as all your tax documents. My CRA account, I definitely would recommend setting this up. They're going to have all your slips as well there. I'm going to go through these a little bit more. And finally, mail. They get mailed out. Check your mailbox. Hopefully everything shows up, but not always dependable. That's why we really want to focus on the first two, the online portal and the CRA, my CRA account. So first of all, our online portal, if you go to the IA Private Wealth website, you can sign in there. I've highlighted on the top corner. Hopefully most of you are set up on this. You can just sign in with your password. If you haven't, you can see there on the right, get started, register, click register. That will walk you through everything you need. If you do need some help or you come across some issues, let us know. We can help you with that as well. But it is pretty straightforward. It is pretty easy. And I believe most people here should probably already be set up on that. So once you're in this is kind of a picture of what it looks like inside the portal to get your tax documents. So you go to the document center, which I've highlighted on the left. Then you can start to filter what you're actually looking for. So you're looking for your tax slips, your year-end report. And you want to look at, just highlight all your accounts, even though for the most part, or this is your non-registered investments for the most part, other than you would be your RSP contribution receipt or your RIF withdrawal receipt. So I would just say highlight all accounts. Just cover all your tax slips that you can expect. So once you can do that, you can see them all, download them, to a PDF, print them, whatever you want to do with them. They're all available there for you to access, email them to your accountant, whatever you need to do. Similarly, the mobile app looks very similar to the web portal, online portal, but it's just obviously made a lot easier to use and see on your phone rather than trying to use a web-based website and program on your phone, on your smaller little iPhone or Samsung, whatever you might have. As you can see on the right, documents, it's the same process. You can, what type of document you're looking for, your tax slips, pull them down. You can download them to your phone. If you want to email them and do it that way as well, it's all there. The app is obviously easy to use. You can log in with your same credentials. If you do have any issues with that, again, let us know. We can help you, but it's all, walks you through it. It's pretty straightforward there as well. So my CRA account, now not always so easy, is the my CRA account where people are getting locked out. There's issues. I can't see, all the stuff. They're going to mail me my password. It takes a long time, all that stuff. But hopefully most people are already set up and have access to it because although CRA is extremely difficult to get in touch with on the phone and deal with, the website provides a lot of that useful information to save you hours and hours of time on the phone if you ever have to contact them to get anything. So this is a huge plus and a huge time saver, as well as I'll show you how you can really use it for your taxes, and your accountant can use it to make sure you have everything. So I extremely would recommend having this. As I mentioned, it will also show you your TFSA history, contributions, withdrawals, show you your RSP room, all that useful information, your previous notice of assessments, it's all there. So I would definitely recommend having this. Once you're in your MyCRA account, it's similar to the portal. You want to go to your tax information slips. So you can click the link, it'll take you to your slips. Then you can select your tax year. So you select 2022, information slips, all slips, just take everything, download them, and then send them to your accountant or print them, whatever you want to do. So how will you receive your tax documents? Mutual fund T-slips, kind of a review. We do not send these or have a copy of these. These come from the third party, directly from the investment firm, the company that it will send to you. Now, one thing I will mention, and this is a plus, that when we launched our Platinum Growth Fund and our Steadfast Fixed Income Fund, we consolidated a lot of our holdings. And we did this for tax purposes so that you would have a lot less tax slips this year than you've had in the past. So instead of getting 5 or 6 or 7 different slips, you'll get one. So that will make everything a lot easier, and one of the big reasons why we did it. Sorry, one for the Platinum Growth for all those growth type of investments, and then one on the fixed income side from those two. So instead of having maybe 10 combined, they're down to 2. So it's a lot easier, a lot less filing, and depending on how your accountant bills you, they may bill you per slip. That'll save you some money there as well. Okay, so back to how do I receive them? Mail. They will be mailed to you, the third-party mutual fund T3 slips. Like I say, we don't have copies of these, but they're also available on the MyCRA account, and we'll go through that a little bit more. So all documents will be mailed to you from us that we have access to, unless, and this is what's highlighted here, you have previously selected to receive all your tax documents digitally. So if you've checked that box, you've gone on, you're saying, I don't want to be mailed anything. I don't want paper I don't want paper. I want it all digitally. Then you're not going to get the statements in the mail. You're not going to get all the tax slips in the mail. They're going to be available on the client portal and as well on your mobile app. So as a hint, if you haven't received any tax slips and you are expecting some, please check your portal, as they're most likely there and you've most likely selected to not receive paper copies, but digital instead. So that is where I would go to for the first place to get all of my slips, regardless, that we would have access to. MyCRA account, again, they have all your slips, not just from us, but from the third party, from the mutual fund companies. Potentially, if you have a Tangerine savings account, high interest savings account, you're going to get a T-slip from them as well. Well, we don't have access to that, but MyCRA will have a copy of that. Tangerine will send you one. They will have a copy of it online as well. So go there where you can get all your reports. However, caveat is that they do not, on MyCRA, they do not have the gain loss report that we generate, our fee report, or a foreign property report, which are sent from us. Now, these aren't official tax T-slips, right? Like a fee report is what you can use for a tax to deduct the fees on your return. A gain loss report is to provide more information when you report, well, how much did you make or lose on a certain investment and the details behind that to back that up. Those are sent from us. So CRA does not have a copy of that. So I know I've thrown a lot of stuff, information. It's kind of all over. You're going, okay, well, what do I do? So rather than even kind of summarize it, I've got just some recommendations on how you should file your return. The process I use personally, you should follow to keep it all very, very simple. Step 1, have your accountant or tax program import all of your tax slips from CRA, from the My CRA website, directly online. All the copies that CRA has. Because again, remember I joked, they know how much you owe. They have access to this information. So import them all from there, because the mailing slips from the third party or from us, from Canada Post, you're waiting, you don't know what's coming, maybe you missed one. Forget all that. Have them come from My CRA. Now, what CRA does not have copies of, you'll want to provide to your accountant, is the gain loss report, the investment fee reports, you can deduct the management fees, and your foreign property report. You will receive copies from us. These reports are available on your client portal or the mobile app. So you download all your T-slips from My CRA into your program, or you have your accountant download them, you give them access, and they download them for you. You supplement that with these 3 reports that you provide, so they can, further, deduct fees and whatnot, have your gain loss report to complete your taxes. It's that simple. But the final step, 2 things we want to do is do not file your return too early, ensure your fees are deducted, and last but not least, review and cross-reference your tax return. So at the end, when everything's done and you filed, or the accountant sends it to you to sign off on, look through it and review it. Does it make sense? If you have a big surprise of the amount of money you're owing, you may want to look at it and go, why? Does that make sense? As I said, I do not want anybody to be overpaying their taxes. That's just as bad as being late or getting fined or, making a mistake on the other end. Either way, it's costing you money. So you want to make sure you review it. When you go out for dinner, I ask, and the bill comes, and if you're anything like me and you take your family out, I look at every little line item to make sure they didn't sneak anything on there that I didn't order. There wasn't an extra drink or an appetizer I didn't want, or I wasn't, the price of the entree is the same on the bill that it was in the menu. If I'm going to review that, $100 bill or whatever it is, and I was going to spend all that time doing that as we do, we should also be reviewing our tax returns annually to ensure that they kind of match with what we're expecting. And if they don't, kind of looking at why. I've come across where people made comments to me saying, oh yeah, I owed like an extra 10 grand or whatever it might be on my tax return last year. I was surprised. I'm going, what? I don't know why. Like, where did that come from? What do you mean? They're like, well, I don't know. I said, well, send me your return. Let me look at it. And then sure enough, when I dig into it, they missed something on it. They had a gain, but they didn't offset a loss, or they didn't have an adjusted cost based on it. And it ended up charging them a bunch of money. They had to refile and go in. Accountants, they're great. They do a job we need them to do. But sometimes during the year, they're not so proactive in looking into it. They're just mainly data entering and filing and getting it done. They're not doing the extra step to dig into it. So that's why it's so important that we review our returns.